Mike Vigil was responsible for some of the Drug Enforcement Agency's most significant international operations. Besides taking on big corporations, he believes the government can also mobilize ordinary people in this war against the drugs.
Well, the Chinese government has established a very strong strategy that deals with rehabilitation, with drug treatment, with legislation and law enforcement. And then they have what they call, the people's war against drugs.
Since 2017, China has cracked 397,000 drug-related criminal cases, of which less than 10 were linked to fentanyl. 511,000 criminal suspects were arrested and 278 tons of drugs were seized. In the people's war against the drugs, customs workers are at the front line. The city of Guangzhou is one of the busiest ports in the world, and many international packages get sent in and out of China via this city. The customs have introduced more effective measures and improved the technology to help cut off channels for drugs to be transported through mail. The difficulty of catching criminals who operate in the shadows of the dark web and the problem of illegal drug production, trafficking and consumption affect every country in the world. But a concerted global effort to tackle the crisis could be the solution. Unfortunately, the opportunity for China and the US to work together has been affected by a series of issues, including sanctions on Chinese organizations like the Institute of Forensic Science of China and the National Narcotics Laboratory. Instead of accepting responsibility for its own problems, once again the US preferred to shift the responsibility by claiming that fentanyl came from China. While the international community and China are increasingly strict in the control of fentanyl substances, the drug problem in the United States, especially the abuse of fentanyl and other synthetic opioids, is still serious and even getting worse. The number of deaths from drug overdoses in the US reached the highest level on record in 2021, according to a provisional data report released by the US CDC on May 11th of 2022. Nearly 108,000 people died from drug overdoses in the US in 2021, and about two-thirds of those deaths involving fentanyl or other synthetic opioids, according to the report. That's about one American overdose death every 5 minutes.
如果想彻底解决芬太尼类物质的问题，核心之核心呢，还是在于包括美国在内的一些国家减少需求，来根治本国的这种加工生产和滥用市场。那么务实的开展国际合作，这是一个根本性的出路。
One of the things that I learned in my 31-year career is that finger pointing does not solve any issue. But I have to applaud the Chinese government for everything that they're doing against this opioid epidemic. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done between the United States and China.